Welcome back to Prism Park. This is the Green Tade. Thank you for joining me again. In episode 2, we'll be taking a look at the black hole, or what I've done of it so far, which is what I will be calling the science fiction portion of the park, the valley here in the center, as you can see. Before we get to that, I have started some path, the kind of general framework of the path that goes around the edge up outside the valley. I described before a important part of this park with the just huge size of it is having pathways back to the entrance that are as efficient as possible. So as you can see, if a guest were, say, in the bottom left here, they could go all the way up and all the way over and then out. Similarly over here, this path doesn't connect yet, but it will come up here and go back over. So a very clearly organized square to be able to, and there's the skywalk here actually, so the staircase that came with the park to get down into the black hole extended kind of a skywalk, and then another staircase. There's another staircase over on that side, one on this side, and actually a second here on the back side as well. So in that way, if people are leaving, there's even kind of like paths that funnel down into the black hole. And that's also important if you have guests way over here and they decide to walk all the way over here for some ride. There's a very straight path here. You can see that this staircase lines up directly with this one all the way over here. Okay, so what all went down to prepare the black hole for next steps? I will go ahead and take off the scenery and rides view so we can see and I'm also going to turn on the grid because that helps us see, for example, like right here, see some of the elevation a little bit with the grid pattern. It makes it more apparent where there's changes in elevation. So the ground down here was much more hilly. It was mostly not flat, so it was a lot of subtle tweaking and work to get more flatness so that building rides and keeping the path nice and usable will be easier. However, let me go ahead and toggle the roller coaster back on. There are these places where the roller coaster was pretty much at the ground level that I was trying to use for the paths, which is why you see I had to dig just tiny little trenches underneath to get the path with enough overhead that it allowed me to build a path underneath the ride. I did that again to have kind of the paths connect all the way through, so that way there weren't like kind of dead ends. So if a guest was coming this way, they can keep going in whatever direction they intend to. Similarly over here, the coaster design is really close to the ground here, so I did have to build this little trench, but now functions as a pathway. A few places I cut into the walls of the valley, like right here it worked best. I kind of brought this side jetted out a little further, so I trimmed that up and cleaned it up. So it's all good to go for my building rides, etc. It's all good to go. So right now, it is the start of year 5, so let's see how long it takes me to put in some rides and things. It is quite a big area down here, so I think I'll do this probably in a divide and conquer type way. Start over here where the roller coasters are already functioning and work my way out. Okay, as you can now see, it's looking a little more lively, a little more lived in over in this part of the black hole. So I've only done this portion over by the entrance to the roller coasters. As you can see, the rest of it is still waiting for construction. So it's, as you can even just see by how I'm manipulating the camera, it can be pretty tricky to build down here. This is why zooming out on the park, I wanted to prioritize filling in this space down in the valley, because sometimes when you're building, and I apologize for when this inevitably happens during the video, sometimes the camera gets caught on the edge of the valley or something up above, and it does help a lot. I'll be switching a little bit back and forth. You can turn off the supports of rides, that helps a lot, but we can see kind of the path work more generally by turning everything to be made off for guests walking around. But what do we have down here? So I kind of called this back loop Robot Way and tried to theme it as such. So first we have the motion simulator, which is technically a generic ride, but of course it suits the science fiction well that it's a little space shuttle. And we've got a little robot entrance booth here. Uh-oh, is it too expensive? Ooh. Let's turn it down to $250. Those people are walking away. There we go, that's a little better. Here we have a little dancing robot guy for Robot Way. There's a photo spot here, so people tend to stop there and take a look at him. I specifically chose the donuts for the concession on Robot Way. One, because like that kind of space race design with the neon lends itself well to science fiction, but also because donuts are kind of circular, suggesting like the cosmos, you know, a ring, like a Saturn's ring is a donut is kind of like Saturn's ring, you know. And then also it's just very like assembly line-esque, that it's just a symmetrical shape that can be mass produced, so that seems kind of to lend itself to robotic. And I just love putting coffee here next to donuts, because coffee and donuts is, well, they're very good. Then we have the robot arm, which is actually not that great a ride, just because it only allows 2 guests at a time. It's very high intensity, so people will pay for it, but I only have the queue line as 1 tile, and even then sometimes people get frustrated that it's taking so long. It is fun though, the robot arm has its own thoughts. Alan K is a puny specimen. Lily J's human brain is no match for me. I really like that attention to detail there. Here's another robot animatronic doing his robot stuff, and then there's one more right there. Then we have the rotor. The rotor is a great ride. I did put a first aid booth though, because it's high nausea rating, but it's good. It can take 12 people at a time, so it has no problem keeping up with demand, and I can charge $4 for it, so that's a great ride. Then we have 3D Cinema, similarly to the motion simulator, kind of, you know, simulated reality, feels inherently robotic in some way, so it fits nicely into Robot Way. So then Robot Way connects to this longer path, which I made kind of more, a little bit more calm and educational than what's going on back there. So we have another Ferris wheel here, because Ferris wheel is just such a... So again, like the Ferris wheel isn't the most like... isn't like a super profitable ride, but the shape makes it good for sneaking in when you only have a small narrow spot for something to go. Like I think it might be the only 2 tile by 4 tile ride, so I didn't mind having another there. The planetarium, similarly, people don't really go on. I wish it was like higher. It says 1.97 excitement, but the intensity is so low, people tend to not want to go on it. But I would be first in line for the planetarium. I really like the design of it too. In this game, if you zoom in, you can see those little like screens with like the sun and planets, and I really like the design of all these gears turning. And so, despite it not being that useful in game, I think it's really cute and of course appropriate for this part of the park. And then we have the Saturn animatronic as well, which, oh, that's so cute. There's a little satellite as well. So that's Robot Way, and next I'll continue to work filling in the rest of this, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, for this next update, it'll be a short one. I've only done one major thing, which is put in this air-powered coaster, by default called Twin Thunder, which I've renamed to Supernova. So of course the entrance to the park is white themed, but I wanted to add a splash of white down in the black hole, and I thought that it lent itself really well to the Supernova coaster. It's short, sweet, and fast. Seems to just be very well suited to the sci-fi theme, especially with these big pillars here. Kind of have sort of a futuristic look to it. So, especially what I really liked was I had just enough space to raise the lower level of the coaster with enough room for things to go underneath, but then also it goes underneath the skywalk, so I think it's a really cool effect of you could walk like over top the coaster and look down at it, or walk down these stairs and then like walk underneath it. And so I put a toilet and ATM right, kind of made so we have a toilet and ATM under these coasters, and then our next little toilet ATM station is nested by the entrance to this coaster. So, and in addition, since these are wooden coasters, I wanted like some sort of steel coaster down here. Then it also works well because there should be enough room in those little spots to put some rides like between the two legs of the coaster. So overall, it took a lot of trial and error to figure out where to put it, but I'm really satisfied with its placement. Okay, so I filled in the black hole a little bit more. Still kind of just ran with over here where the supernova, so-called supernova coaster is. I described I wanted to try to put some rides in these little spaces, and it turned out pretty well. I'm pretty satisfied. In this spot right here, we have a swinging inverter coaster that's just about to get started. Of course, it's appropriate for the science fiction, given that it's like a little ship you ride in. I kind of wanted the theme with the sci-fi, the thrill rides to kind of be almost like different, like spaceships, or like, I don't know, the idea of it being like there's different ships you go on or something. Wow, wow. You got some ice cream, and we've got Space Shake here. Get yourself a Space Shake and a Space Hat. This ride, the Gravitron. Did I say that correctly? Gravitron, yeah. Oh, it's getting looked at right now. You can see some people down in there. This thing is pretty high nausea. Yeah, 6.63 nausea, so I did put a first aid station right by its exit, as well as there's a, what's this called? Rocket Boost Cantina and some cotton candy. I forget, does this lift up or just spin you around really fast? I guess that's all it does, is spin you around really fast. It's kind of funny. No wonder you need the first aid station. Yeah, because that would probably make me throw up. And of course, you can see some of the, I've put in some sci-fi scenery. There's some like weird sci-fi trees and stuff. So a small update, but as I said, like just designing a large space like this, it's easy to like get ahead of yourself and miss like smaller details, like making sure you have benches and trash cans and things. So I wanted to kind of chip away at the black hole kind of section by section. So first we did this robot way, and now we did the supernova. It'll be a little trickier to decide what to do next because everything's so well connected by these paths. It's kind of like you open up the paths and people are going to start going every which way. So I might bite off a bigger chunk for the next update.